what's the feeling right now before this movie opens?
Everybody's team, yeah. Everybody. Sick of it.
I got a hug yesterday from a girl at a book signing in Dallas who only wanted to hug me and not him. She was like, "Oh," he said, "No, it's fine."
No, she said it so specifically.
Oh, she
She hugged me and went, "No, not you." In front, there was a camera crew there. Everyone saw.
So, Chandler, you haven't gotten the hugs yet, or have you?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we'll fix that. Go ahead.
Hey guys, welcome to Dallas. Jake, I know we talked before for Percy Jackson.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
good to have you guys back here. Talk a little bit about working with Andrew Niccol. He's always been one of my favorite directors, and he brings a real interesting style and look to his films. And you know, on this one especially, it's got a very unique sort of feel to it. It almost feels like you're kind of reading like an interesting graphic novel in a way. So can you talk a little bit about working with him on this?
I've never said that before. That's really interesting. I mean, Gattaca being his premier science fiction film, for me personally, and it may piss a lot of people off, but I think it's his closest return to Gattaca.
Yeah.
Sort of in style and form and story-wise. He's one of the most meticulous directors I've ever worked for. Peter Jackson being the second. I mean, Andrew would come in and move a piece of gauze because it was not in the right place in the background.
Quite literally.
Literally, that happened. But his office in pre-production was papered 360 degrees. The entire movie was stuck to the wall. All the locations, all our characters, every scene. So you could walk into his office, start here, walk around, and you watch the movie, and just.
And I think what's important to know is that every single detail you see, cars, weapons, costumes,
extras.
He cast every single extra. He is responsible for all of it, which is so often not the case. You know, people are sorry to do that kind of thing, but he did it. You know, he got 4 hours sleep. So every.
He gave himself hives because he worked so hard. He literally had hives on his face. I think that's a testament to his nature.
So with that kind of meticulousness, was there room for improv? Did you guys get a chance to kind of bring your own, things to each of your individual characters?
Absolutely. We had 2 weeks of rehearsal that we were all a part of, which never happens. I believe that was the request of William Hurt. And that made all the difference in the world. The movie would not be what it is without that 2 weeks of rehearsal. And I feel like it might be a bit harder for us to stand by it had we not had that, because we found everything that was hidden that wasn't on the surface. And yeah, I mean, you don't get that. You really, really don't.
Alright, so fun conceptual question here.
Okay.
You guys get to be the spirits. Who is your host, if you could pick anybody?
Well, usually I say Jay-Z, but I've just had a conversation next door where I decided to be the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Because I think how long do you get in the body? If it's a lifetime, I think I'd go for Jay-Z. If it was Kim Jong-un, you could make some serious changes if you had 24 hours. So, either one.
Another adaptation said they could be alive or dead. So then, yeah, we started getting a little bit more sophisticated in our answers, and I said Nikola Tesla or Albert Einstein for the same kind of reason.
Yeah.
What could you do?
I don't know if I would really change anything if I were this person, but John Lennon.
Imagine that.
But you guys brought up William Hurt. What was it like getting to work with a veteran actor like him? And I mean, you all 3 shared scenes pretty, throughout the film.
He I think I can speak for us on this. He is Jem. I mean, he was our father, so to speak. He was our mentor. He was our teacher. He was our guardian. He fought for us, the actors. To get 2 weeks rehearsal out of the producers, that's a tall order, and he did it.
I've never seen someone fight so ruthlessly for the actor's protection. I mean, he has his way of doing it, and the actors always come out protected on the other side of it, and that also really never happens.
And then, when you see him on screen, as always, he's spellbindingly good. Just
effortlessly good, too. Yeah, you learn a lot. People like him elevate your work, and you just kind of hope the next project you go in on has someone like that.
Like he did an HBO film called Too Big to Fail about the banking crisis, which he's so good at. But I heard again they had no rehearsal and they expected all the actors to come in and be on the same page. And you think what that page is, that's the financial system, which is famously complicated. And he said, no, that's not good enough. We have to learn, study, and soak up everything to do with this business, which they did, which contributed to making such a wonderful film. So he's that kind of actor.
Can you guys talk a little about the audition process?
It was pretty standard, I suppose, for most of us. We were sent the script, read the script. It's a great script. Andrew Niccol did a fantastic job of adapting the novel to screen form. I initially auditioned for Jared, and then they called me in for Ian. I had a conversation with Andrew Niccol about why he thought I should play Ian. I immediately got what he was saying, and I read with Saoirse, and then a few weeks later, got the call.
So you don't get to slap anybody during the audition?
No, and they gave us some of the intimate scenes for the audition too. And she was 17 at the time, so we had to kiss cheeks.
Okay.
I would just like to point out two things. One, I didn't actually slap her. That's good. Secondly, I don't endorse that. Slapping. Just for the record, in print, don't endorse.
Now Chandler, you're from Houston, so is that where they found you, or?
My question's for Max. Was it difficult playing opposite of Saoirse when she was switching between the roles of Melanie and Wanda?
No, it wasn't. It was difficult for her. She had the tough work. She had to inhabit independently two quite clearly defined characters, which I know for Stephanie and for Andrew and for producers, that was the struggle to find an actress capable of doing that. And they found themselves with Saoirse Ronan, who did it amazingly. So all we had to do, me and Jake and Chandler, was respond to her as a human would. Question why she's doing this in a certain moment, but we didn't actually have to do it. So yeah,
It's very simple but effective sci-fi, and I think that's probably what drew Andrew Niccol to the project. And Stephanie created a very interesting, very intricate world building, even though we only saw a little bit of it. It was this benign alien invasion. Now, Jake, you read the novel, but invariably when a novel comes to screen, you lose a lot in the translation. Can you name some of what the most significant or necessary changes were, and maybe how much Andrew and Stephanie worked together?
They worked very closely together. I know that. Andrew's, I think his first draft was around 300 pages, because he even doubted himself at that time, how can I possibly boil this down to 100 odd pages. I know a few characters were left out just because they didn't fit in the world yet, but what's surprising is out of a over 600-page novel, I think he found sort of the quintessential moments that define not only the story but each character, and he was able to boil them down to the nucleus of each one of those into this final film. And I don't think it jeopardized the integrity of any one character or the story, and that's really rare. It's really rare. Half the time, you read a book and it's a drama, and you go see the movie and there's a flying dragon now. And you're going, this doesn't make any sense. And I don't think there's a moment in this film where you go, no, that wasn't there. Everything that's in the movie was in the book. Stephanie has said that visually, Andrew just made it better. The exterior of the cave, that shiprock in Mexico, she goes, that was way more dramatic than the mountain I picked out. The aesthetic of the silver cars and the wardrobe was all Andrew sort of heightening of her vision, and I think that's a good change in a way. If it elevates it, and yeah.
With Stephanie Meyer sort of became the queen of the love triangle with the success of Twilight, and in The Host she goes one step further and creates a love square, a love box, if y'all want to call it that. Can you talk a little bit about that dynamic and how your character is related to loving the same person within one body?
Well, for me, personally, it was the thing that actually drew me to it. Because I think it's such an interesting, unique problem for a character, for an actor to have, that you lose the woman you love, but then the physical form comes back as a daily reminder of what you've lost, but then to discover that in fact, to not only have to deal with that problem, then to discover that the girl you once loved isn't in fact dead, but is in fact trapped inside. I mean, what a nightmare. It's an interesting problem to have. And two guys who deal with it, who have different interests and deal with the problem completely differently. I think it's a unique love square.
And I think Ian's big obstacle is that she's not of our species. And that's one thing Andrew told me when he called me before I went and read for Ian was, one reason I love Ian is because he's got this interspecies emotion that's developing, and it's very strange and peculiar. And so I think that's, yeah, that's interesting too. I lost that one.
And Chandler, you have any comments about that, having to play with Saoirse being in two different characters?
I don't know. I mean, Jamie, my character, you know, he sees both of them as two separate people.
A man of few words. This is great.
He's a smart one.
But there we go.
Trail off like an idiot.
He's learning fast. Very good.
Hey Max, your dad is Jeremy Irons. You probably get that a lot. But what advice did he give you, or is there advice that you take from seeing him, you know, work in movies, and anything that you like gravitate toward? And maybe Chandler, did you learn anything from Jake and Max along the way? Sorry, I split that.
Chandler's done more work, I think, than both of us combined. So we should probably take advice from him.
Any advice?
I don't think so.
In terms of my dad, you know, it's a bit like parents giving you driving lessons. You know they're kind of right in the advice they're giving you, but it's a real pain in the ass nonetheless. So basically, yeah. But he initially told me not to do it, but then once he saw I was serious, and I think I went about it the right way, he kind of backed off and let me do it.
The movie opens by basically explaining that the world's kind of been saved from us, which is kind of the interesting thing in its opening. So I'm wondering if there's an argument to be made here that the aliens are really the good guys, and that they're saving the world from us.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a very strange anti-hero in a way, because that's one of the questions it poses: is do we deserve this earth and what we're doing to it and to each other and it. And I think at the end, it allows you to sort of figure that out for yourself. Are you on? I think what's more interesting than Team Ian and Team Jared is Team Human or Team Alien, really, because that's the bigger question. I think it's a kind of a spectacle we haven't seen before, because we are so used to the ships coming in, blowing up the White House, and Will Smith saving the day. And I love that. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love that. But it's cool to see something like this that hasn't been done, and I guess that's, you know.
I don't know if I remember this or from the book or from Stephanie talking, or I don't know, maybe I dreamt it. But I think that the souls, eventually, after one generation, when children are born, they give the child the choice whether or not to be inhabited, which is something that she might put more into the second book, which is quite an interesting idea, that they come here, they fix us up a bit, and then they kind of put us on the right path. I don't know.
This question's for all of y'all. Can you describe one positive aspect from your role in The Host compared to previous roles?
One positive thing. I think the family that was built on this set is very unique. I'm friends with many of the actors I've worked with and the filmmakers I've worked with in previous films, but never as much as a whole that this is, being actors, filmmakers, writers, Stephanie Meyer alike. I mean, we're all buds in like the best way. Now these tours are really, really difficult. We wake up in a different city every morning. You meet thousands of people, and it's fantastic. But you inevitably get exhausted at some points. You go through these hills and valleys, and when one of us walks into a room and haven't seen each other for the past couple hours, it kind of like breathes new life in, and it's not always the case. Sometimes someone can walk in the room and you're just like, oh my God! It makes it worse, but it's unique in that way that we kind of keep each other alive.
I got to play a tough guy for the first time ever. I like that. Just to know that I could.
We have one more question. You haven't asked a question yet, so this is.
Oh, I have
Oh,
that.
you did, well, then it better be a good last one.
Okay, so between both of you guys, I mean, you have Chris Jackson, I'm number 4, Red Riding Hood, and now the host, and you guys have been a part of this kind of new genre that we've seen come out. So what's it like to be a part of these like adaptations, and they're highly anticipated, and like living up to fan expectations? And do you guys block that out, or do you lose sleep over it? Or?
No sleep loss over it, because once your performance is on celluloid or digital celluloid, your job's done. There's nothing we can do about it. All that sort of effort went in on the day of filming. It's strange because these films, they can allow you certain things because they are put on such a grand scale. If they're successful on a grand scale. If they're failures, they're failures on a grand scale. So, with big risk can come big reward. But I think what interests me most in this sort of new world of YA films is that people like Chris Columbus, William Hurt, Gary Oldman, these fantastic, talented people are doing these films. So they're slowly becoming more elevated, I think, each year because of the willingness. I think Kate Winslet's about to do one. I mean, it's strange to see them in it, but I mean, it makes, and that's why I've done the ones I've done personally. It's because of filmmakers and the actors involved.
No.
I was just going to say, I think we need to wrap it up, but I just wanted to know, did you sneak on those contacts just for fun at all?
Hell no.
I pass out contact lenses.
Yeah, they're tunnel vision. You can't see peripherally. They get dried out. Did you put them on?
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming. March 29th, the host.